Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And if there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. All right, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there's a 10 of Swords. This is very interesting. That's, to me, that is kind of a, especially as the first card, that's a card that kind of symbolizes freedom, right? That we're breaking out of a system that's not working for us anymore. This is very, very interesting. We have the wheels here, see, Wheel of Fortune. We have the Ace of Discs. We have the Chariot, which is all about kind of wheels and motion and progress. And this good earth energy. So yeah, we're getting out of a very limiting situation, and I think we're in store for a very big win. But let's continue with the Path of the Serpent and see what else is going on. Yeah, another wheel formation. There's a lot of insight, a lot of education, a lot of learning, and there's this big win. I mean, I like this. I gotta say, this is gonna be a fun one. We're going to select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, and this is using the Smith-Waite Tarot. And this is just one card that we're going to randomly select. We'll put Simon the Alien on top to guard it. And hopefully at the end of the reading, that will tie everything together and, give us the confirmation that we need. Okay? So let's take a look at what we have. We've got major, 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 major. We don't have any fire. We have very little water, right? Then we've got some air, and then we've got earth, 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 a lot of earth energies. All right? So a lot of majors and a lot of earth, a little bit of air and water to get us through. I like the air and the water, right? Because to me, that is kind of representing heart-mind. It's representing thinking and feeling, knowing, and the emotional, intuitive kind of perception coming together as one. So I really like this water and air energy. Now, the Ten of Swords is usually not a good thing. Usually means that whatever plans we had are kind of crashing down. It's not a very good card generally, but every card has its light and its shadow. So because something is ending, something new can begin. I feel like this is the ending of a very limiting system. This is the ending of, well, perhaps it's the ending of a job, of an employment, the closing the doors of a company, right? Sounds like a terrible thing. You don't want to lose your job. But maybe the only way for you to progress, for you to realize this abundance in your life, to go on and create even better things, we have to get rid of this. If you have this limiting system around you, if you're being restricted, if you're kind of, you're growing too big for your cage, too big for your fishbowl, right? We've got to break free of that fishbowl and get into the wide open ocean. Yeah. So I think that you're getting out of something that is holding you back, whether it's a career, a job, a relationship, a business, a field of study. Maybe it's a way of thinking. Maybe it's a certain paradigm, a certain belief system, whatever. We're getting out of that. It may feel like a loss. It may feel like something is being ruined, something's being destroyed. It may feel as if you're losing something, right? That something's kind of being taken away, that, you know, you've been let go of a job, or the career path that you were on is kind of crashing down, right? But that crashing sound, that's the sound of freedom, right? That's the sound of bigger and better things. That's kind of the fireworks for this celebration, for this really big win. That's the sound of this limiting structure being dismantled, okay? Whatever it is, could be a relationship. It has a physical component. It definitely has a career, financial kind of vibe to me. But it could very well be a relationship, because we do have, obviously, the air energy with the swords. It's not just the physical situation, but it's our relationship with it. And it is one that is restricting us spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Maybe not physically. It's not like a physical prison or a physical cage, right? But it's something that's limiting us. It's a limiting, a restrictive belief system. And it could just be, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that there is change, inevitable change. It could be that once we realize that we no longer need to be restricted, we're free to manifest this Wheel of Fortune. This is, if I could curse on YouTube, I would, because this is amazing. And maybe it's just our relationship with it. Maybe we've just been conditioned to believe that this is all there is, that this little container is ours. No, we have the whole infinite universe. I wonder if this mystery card is going to be the universe or the world card. We have all these ideas here of wheels, of things expanding and growing. The wheels are turning, but there's expansiveness, right? Especially with this Wheel of Fortune. This is the Jupiter energy. This is very generous, very expansive energy. We see growth here with these flowers or fruits on this tree. It's growth, it's expanding. We see the wheels here in the Chariot, motion, movement, growth. We see the wheel here in terms of a seed of a new beginning. It's growing into something, and this is what it grows into. Infinite abundance. So it's almost like this 10 of Swords is, we're kind of limiting ourselves, maybe. We're just like underestimating our potential here, you know? I think you're in store for a really, really big win. And maybe it is this big win, or this new opportunity, or some sort of realization that's teaching you. Remember, we said there's a lot of this kind of teaching, knowledge, understanding, learning kind of vibe here. We're learning that we're capable of so much. Yeah. Whatever system you're in, whatever place you're in, whatever structure is around you right now, whether it's a school thing, a work thing, a relationship thing, a family thing, a religious thing, spiritual thing, whatever it is, the only limit is the limit that you believe in. These bars are illusory. Yeah. Because what you're really capable of is infinite abundance and growth and expansion, success. This is the Princess of Discs, and this card is probably the most beautiful card in the entire Thoth deck. Represents every other card in the tarot. Every other energy, even in between the cards of the tarot. All of the majors, all of the minors, all of the court cards. Represents everything. Because everything is there for you to attain if you want it. There's no limit, right? There's no limit to what we can manifest. And this shows all of it manifested. It's up to us what we're trying to grow. We see in the recent past here, this Ace of Pentacles. I wonder if this was the beginning of some growth here. The beginning of something new. You started a career, you started a relationship, you started a path, a track in university or something, a spiritual path, could be anything. Started a family. And maybe at first we thought, yeah, this is I can take this, there is no limit, right? We can take this as far as the eye can see. The sky is the limit. Maybe something slowly over time started to condition you that there was a limit. That you were only capable of so much. Right? It's time to get out of this again. It's time to realize that this situation, if we can get rid of this limiting cage around us, this illusory cage, then we'll see that there is no limit. And that here is tomorrow's energy, is the realization of the Wheel of Fortune, the realization that there is no limit. This is the abundance in your life that you're creating, and this is the knowledge that in the future you can take this as far as you can dream, as far as you can imagine. Right? There's the Eight of Pentacles underneath everything, and this is an underlying habit of yours to be careful, right? To not overestimate, not to overdo it. This is, you have a garden, just a little bit of light, the right amount of water. You don't want to overwater it. You want to, trim, prune it, pull the weeds, but not too much. So this is being very careful with what we manifest and what we grow and how we grow it. Yeah. So yeah, there is infinite potential, but you're just taking a very little bit. You're trying to be prudent, trying to be modest, trying not to achieve too much too quickly. You're just going to go slow. This is almost like, yeah, I know it could be an infinite amount of something, but I'm just going to take a little bit, And to me that sounds reasonable. Makes sense. You don't want to take more than you need, especially if we're talking about kind of finite resources of the earth. You don't want to overindulge, right? We want to be careful with natural resources. But I think here we're talking about supernatural resources, right? We're talking about this expansion of yourself and your soul, your creativity, your spiritual attainments, the happiness that you could achieve in life, your idea of success. It should have no limit, whether we're talking financial or otherwise. But we have this idea of moderation. We have this underlying Eight of Pentacles idea of just take what you need, or even a little bit less than what you need. And yes, we agree with that. That is very good thinking. But if we apply this to every other plane, it's good maybe on the physical plane, this is pretty accurate. But if we apply it to the emotional or mental or spiritual planes, it becomes restrictive. It becomes limiting, but not in the good way of conserving natural resources. You don't want to grow too many crops that you end up throwing most of them away or whatever, But we could change the way we look at that too. Maybe you should grow as many crops as you can. Don't throw them away. Give them away. Right? Jupiter energy. Generous. Expansive. Restores faith in humanity. Right? There should be no limit, maybe even in the natural resources. Grow as much as you can. Build as much as you can. This is one of those kind of false, and we might be getting into some kind of dangerous waters here with our topics, but this is the idea that you shouldn't try to earn too much money, right? That you don't want to accumulate too much wealth. That somehow success is bad for you. Just stay small, just a little bit, just kind of eke by is the way to, that's the responsible way. Well, yes, and no, too. Because if you fully realize this Jupiter energy, this Wheel of Fortune energy, you know that the more you achieve, the more the rest of us achieve too. The more you have, the more you can give, right? But that has to be a focus. That has to be, yes, it's dangerous for anyone to accumulate a mass of wealth or of any kind of abundance and hoard it and hold on to it and kind of sneak away with it. A little bit of hermit energy here. But what we need is that generosity, that giving, that sharing. You know, if I have the means to grow an entire yard full of tomatoes, I can't eat that many tomatoes. Yeah, I may be Mediterranean, but there's a limit even for me with tomatoes. Give them to people, share them, right? The abundance that we create is not for ourselves alone. And that is the message of the Jupiter energy, of this expansive wheel of fortune. But we have to first get out of this idea that small, limited, very, very moderate, modest, prudent is the only way to go. That this is the responsible thing. Because, you know, I do agree with this, but not completely. Not in every situation. It depends on the person. I think you're somebody who's looking to realize the Wheel of Fortune, who wants this big win, is not in any way going to feel guilty for achieving, right? Because you know that you're not just going to steal away with it and hoard it and hide in your cave and just laugh like a maniac with all of your abundance. You want to be part of the world. You want to share your gifts. You want to be a light for the world, right? Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the hermit energy, but we still have to talk about the Chariot. Because the Chariot, especially when we combine it with the Eight of Pentacles, this is someone that says, you know what, I kind of need to just stay on track, stay the course. I need to do what's expected. I need to achieve what is proper for my station. It's very classist in a way, you know. And I don't want to get into any kind of social or political commentary. That's not what this channel is. But I feel like this Chariot could be a couple of things. It could be us just sticking with the traditional or the family line of things. You know? It's like, Dad was a barber, I'm going to be a barber too. That sort of thing. Keeping it the family line, right? A trade, a tradition in the family. And that's part of this self-limiting thing, you know, that there's somehow this taboo against leveling up, right? I don't think so much anymore. I think that's changing, you know. And maybe this reading is really talking about that change more generally than just a Gemini general tarot reading. Maybe it is talking about collectively, as a human race, that we need to get out of this self-limiting belief system that riches are only for the rich, that abundance is only for the select few, right? So we could get stuck in this Chariot energy as far as upholding the traditional belief system. But if we're breaking free of this, if we're getting out of this self-limiting thing, and you realize your infinite potential, and we're talking about spiritual energies, right? This isn't a financial reading or anything like that. It's not a social commentary. We're talking about spiritual progress, spiritual abundance. Well, the Chariot is showing that you're ready to transcend. You're ready to not just progress horizontally. We're not just making lateral moves. You're transcending. You're leveling up. You're going just kind of outside the box, right? Outside the frame, off the table. You're ready to break with just this traditional horizontal movement. You're ready to see what you're really made of, what your potential really is, what you can expand and grow into. But now we're over here with this Hermit energy. And the Hermit could be talking about the need for us to really connect with our self, with our soul, with our higher self, Here's the Hierophant. The Hierophant and the Hermit, to me, these two have a very special bond, right? I think it is through these hermit phases that we meet the Hierophant. I think and that's where we meet the cat as well. I think that there is a need for us to not only understand our potential, but to understand if we are the type to fully embrace, fully invoke this Jupiter energy, this Wheel of Fortune energy. If this is what we really feel in our heart, if that's what the cards are a little bit messy here. We may be looking at things from the Hermit's perspective. And that's to say that it's easy to look at this and see it and say, yeah, well, of course. But the Hermit it's not involved in this. This is our perspective that's kind of outside of this whole thing. And the Hermit just does what the Hermit does. The Hermit has that interior knowledge, that kind of spiritual insight because of its relationship with the Hierophant, the higher self, right? And can see how this situation might be true, how all of this kind of seems logical, it seems reasonable. It's a much different story when you are, well, maybe you are this Prince of Cups who's actually in the mix. It's not as easy to see, right? Maybe this reality brings us to the Hermit a little bit and just says, I would rather just not participate. I would rather take myself out of this whole game. I'm refusing to play. But this is where we really need to search ourselves. We need to be Hermit. We need to invoke the Hierophant because there is some turmoil in you right now. This is the Prince of Cups. It's in the position of your environment, how you relate to the environment, and what it is time for. And this is someone who is trying to, let's say, reconcile the head and the heart, the air, Prince, and the water, Cups, right? Thinking and feeling. This is someone who is looking for this guidance coming from within. What kind of person am I? What do I really want? What do I think logically I want with my head? What am I reasonably expecting from life and from myself? What do I think I can actually accomplish here? And looking at it realistically, if I were to have this big win, right? If I were to get the Wheel of Fortune were to come up with a jackpot for me, how would I respond? We're thinking about it. How am I actually going to behave? What am I really going to do with it? Versus the heart. What do I feel? Yes, I have this love in me. I have this deeper passion, this deeper purpose. There is meaning and significance behind what I do and why I'm achieving what I'm achieving. So there's this kind of a reconciliation that needs to happen. We can't just think with our head and say, well, yeah, logically I can see that I need to reach the greatest success that I possibly can, at any cost. And then emotionally it just says, well, I have this intense love and passion. I care about people. I care about the environment. I care about, humanity. But how do we combine both of those? How are we aware of what drives us? How does that translate into kind of simple, easy to digest thoughts? How can we be cognizant of what is really deep within our hearts, in our souls? Not just the surface water energy, like our immediate desires, our immediate thoughts, but what's deep in our core, right? Well, I think the way we discover that is through Hermit and Hierophant, right? By trying to open ourselves up to that higher knowledge, that conscience, that guardian angel, that ancestor, spirit guide kind of download, that may not always be the polite, kind, flattering message that we want. It might be kind of harsh, right? If we're open to that, I think we can take full advantage of this big win. Because I really think that, because this is very, very simple reading, right? You've done a lot of hard work. You've gotten out of this self-limiting belief. And tomorrow is going to be a huge win, huge jackpot, right? Infinite potential, the infinite abundance and growth and success, financial and otherwise, whatever you want tomorrow, you're getting it. But how are we getting to tomorrow? And once we get there, what are we going to do? We have to know ourselves. We have to know what we want, what we're capable of. We have to know how far we want to take this Wheel of Fortune. How much growth and success and abundance do you want? Do you need? What do you feel? What do you think? What does your higher self tell you? And that, whatever your higher self tells you, however we reconcile this stuff, is where we put the brakes on. This is where we end. This is where we say, okay, this is the perfect amount of success for me. This is the creating a bit of a boundary around it and saying, this is what I want to achieve. Once I reach this point, then I'm happy. Then I can kind of stop with the striving, right? Then we can kind of tone down the Wheel of Fortune a little bit with this growth and this expansion. How big do you want to get? How high do you want to climb? This is that sweet spot, We're not limiting ourselves based on tradition or based on this ethics or based on this kind of consensus reality or this paradigm or belief system or whatever that limiting, restrictive swords energy is. We're putting our own limits on it based on who we are and what we want and what we need, what kind of person we are, right? This is that sweet spot. This is that level of attainment where you know that you've achieved everything that you wanted. This is happiness. This is success. This is satisfaction. Because you've overcome. See, this is earth energy too. You've taken all of this earth energy, even the earth energy, this is all earth energy, right? So this is all based in very practical senses. I forget where they were, right there. So we have to know what success looks like for us. We have to know what it is we want. What is the level of attainment that we want to reach? How much money do you need? Could be a little, could be a lot. It depends on what's really in your heart. Not based on expectations or traditions or this sense of modesty. We take as much as we need to fulfill our nature. And if that means you take a tremendous amount because we're going to do good things with it, or we take a very small amount because that's all we need and we want to live a very simple and quiet kind of hermit-like life, then so be it. This is the big win. Let's figure out what we're going to do with it. All right, let's look at the mystery card now. Thank you, Simon. Let's see what Simon says here. I'd like to see another 6 of Pentacles or something that's showing that we are expanding and growing based on our own needs, our own will, our own spirit, and that we kind of know when to stop. That's kind of the name of the game. The High Priestess, yeah. The High Priestess. We know when to stop. We have the intuitive knowledge of ourselves. We've done the work here. We've gotten out of that restrictive paradigm that kind of makes the decision for us. And now we're relying on our higher self, our intuition, the message from the divine. We're learning to trust in that. We're connecting with that, and that's our guide. We know how much of an increase we need. See, this priestess energy, it's a fluctuation. It's the waxing and the waning of the moon. It's expanding, it's getting smaller, it's waxing and it's waning. It's fluctuating, right? It's in and out. We know when to kind of hit the button, right, and stop the movement. We know where we want to be. So this is that intuition that says, you keep succeeding, you keep taking advantage of every opportunity. You strive, you win, you succeed. As much as you can, you'll know when is that sweet spot. You'll know when to kind of hit the button and when to get off, right? And this could be, it doesn't have to be a financial thing. This could be any kind of a spiritual endeavor. Could be in terms of just creative expression. Could be a career, a business. Could be education. Could be anything like. Could be agriculture, literally. This is trusting yourself that you'll know when to stop. You'll know when the right time is. But the main message, hey, tomorrow, big win coming. Okay? Big win. But it's not as simple as that. There are a lot of other factors, always. Anyway, we're going to do an extended Gemini. If you want to stick around, click on the link in the corner. That'll give you access to all of the extended readings. I want to thank you for being here. I'll see you again very soon.